just let people know if there are people out there that Stanley is in here. No, just go for it.
Well,
I don't think this.
Oh, we still got time.
yeah, we got about
Still got time?
8 more minutes. Let
8
everyone-
minutes.
Everyone's
gonna
just
stare
I
at
could be
each other
signing
for
shit
8
for 8
minutes.
minutes.
Well, that
It's
means
8
that-
minutes. Why weren't we signing stuff? What's wrong with you, boy?
Oh, me.
How you doing?
I was selling stuff right before you guys were going.
Yeah, I know. There was stuff at our table too.
Hi,
So
guys.
since there's 8 minutes, let's bullshit. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to say that. I really apologize. Let's somebody ask a question. I'll sing for you if you want me to. Yes. Say, oh no, you don't want me to sing for you? But I could sing for you. There's a light over at the Frankenstein place. There's a light burning in the fireplace. There's a light in the darkness of everybody's night. You guys know the song? Come on. Scared you, didn't I? So, any questions? Before we start, this will be pre-starting questions, because I'm bored.
Well, I think last year at San Diego, you checked out the classic Batmobile. Is there anything that you yourself have designed or changed?
Well, I turned it into a car, because I think cars are better, to drive, because people go, oh, look, a Batmobile. And that's probably not what Batman wants, right? I mean, a Corvette, Jag, it'd be kind of sporty, but, Batmobile, like the one in the movie, like a couple of movies ago, the thing looked like a tank. Stealthily, Batman went through the night in a walking tank. Not a good idea. No. So I think, you probably want your Batmobile to look like a car. Well, I don't know. What did the Black Beauty look like? I guess kind of like a car, Yeah, I think. I like those old radio shows, and I thought it was great that you didn't know what it was and you could imagine it in your mind. But the Batmobile, as soon as it starts to look like a tank, it's probably not good. We're tracking the Batmobile really easy. All the villains have this like a little Batmobile tracker. He's coming our way. It's stealth mode. It's hard to imagine a tank with stealth mode, isn't it? Like a tank. Don't you know? Seen those movies with the stealth mode with the planes and they're all got all these sharp edges and stuff? That thing looked like a tank. I'm sorry. So, chat. See, we're not telling you who we are and what we're doing. We just need questions and chatting because it's going to be fun. Come on, a question. You didn't even raise your hand. I'm calling on you. Go ahead.
You've done a lot of characters over the years. My particular favorite was always Captain Marvel.
Your particular favorite was Captain Marvel. That's why you have a red shirt on?
Well, I did yesterday with the actual envelope.
Cool.
Did you actually, I never actually noticed if you actually drew him.
I drew him in high school. It was a short strip, and it was the caption said, Billy Batson says the magical name Shazam, and then you have the second panel where you see the lightning bolt of Shazam, and then the third panel it said reducing Billy to a smoldering pile of ashes. It's begin 3 panels. So this is my son Josh. Josh Adams does he does Doctor Who. You probably don't recognize the character. And he did 5 issues of Doctor Who, and he's going to be doing some more. He's got an internet comic strip. The internet comic strip is something that I'm totally ashamed of, and I won't be seen with him when he talks about it, because it has to do with subjects that we're not allowed to talk about. But it is an internet comic book, so it could be cool. Why don't you tell him about your comic strip?
Hi. Yeah, I'm doing a webcomic with a group called Blind Ferret. They've got a large presence here. And It's called In the Garden of Stephen. It's about a guy named Steve who discovers the Garden of Eden and meets Adam and Eve, and sort of develops a thing for Eve, who has no interest in him, because she's literally made for Adam, and Adam is meeting another man for the first time in his life, and is
You guys remember the Bible?
yeah,
You look a little confused.
yeah.
It's that Adam and Eve.
Yeah, that particular Adam and Eve. And Adam is meeting another man for the first time in his life and is having confused feelings towards Steve. So it's sort of a love circle of sorts with two of the most biblical people on earth. And Steve, who is just like anybody else in this room. You know, wears clothes and knows, there's a lot of conventions that we take for granted that, a couple of naked people who've never met other people would not understand, such as clothes. Yeah, clothes.
Is there a Satan?
I can't tell you whether or not there's a Satan.
Snake.
There's a serpent. He's not a snake just yet. If you know the story, the original Bible one, he does have legs before he does all that bad stuff and gets turned into a snake.
Could be a dinosaur.
There are dinosaurs, but he's not a dinosaur.
Or dinosaurs?
There are dinosaurs
In Eden?
in Eden, yeah, and dragons and unicorns.
You see why I don't want to be associated with this?
Yeah,
Terrible.
yeah. It's gonna be fun. It'll be okay. I still haven't shown him much of it because it's kind of, it's a little.
Because everything he tells me scares me.
Yeah. There is that sort of, like, what would Dad think that I'm doing this, like there's nudity in it, which, because it's natural, it's Adam and Eve, you're not going to.
They're nude.
Yeah. So.
Do they have penile members?
One of them,
Not one of them.
the other one has the opposite. Right?
I know about that. We make mechanical instruments like that.
Yeah.
Of course, I did Son of God comics, so I'm pretty much going to hell anyway. So are we ready to start?
29, we good?
Yeah, I'd like
All
to
right.
turn the floor over to the moderator, who's going to be nice enough to introduce us to you, because you don't know us. And you have to wait with your questions until he says nice.
But that's a
he's gonna
good
say
start.
those nicey things about us. Yeah.
But that's a good start, though. We are going to be taking questions from the audience. Hi, my name is Hung Hua, and I'll be your moderator today for...
What's your name?
It's Hung Hua.
Say it again.
Hung Hua.
Wow, how do you spell it?
H-U-N-G, last name H-U-A.
Hungua.
Yeah.
Wow, great name.
As you know, our panel here, Mr. Neal Adams, and also his son Josh Adams. Give him a nice warm welcome. Can I start off with introductions for you guys?
Sure,
Like your work
sure.
and stuff? Okay, so Josh Adams, he's a comic book artist. You know him from his work from Vertigo's House of Mystery, and more recently IDW's Doctor Who comic books. He's also done design for Sci-Fi Channel.
Hung.
Yeah,
Slow down.
I'll try it.
Slow down. I can't pick it up.
Okay. He's also done design work for the Sci-Fi Network, Battlestar Galactica, Eureka, Ghost Hunters. And his
Did
dad...
you understand what he said?
Are we
Say
good?
you didn't.
No?
Tell the truth. You didn't understand. Okay, he's done work for the Sci-Fi Network. You ever hear of it?
Space Channel.
Space Channel here. That's what it's called here.
Yeah.
Hung, we're going to get you to slow down.
I'll slow down as much
Because you know why? Everybody, we're here, we're proud of the stuff that we did, and we just can't zip over it, okay? Josh, when he was, how old were you?
17.
17 when he worked for the Sci-Fi Network, now here called the
Space Channel.
Space Channel. And he did designs and storyboards as an intern for such shows as, good.
Eureka, Battlestar Galactica, Warehouse 13. There's a whole bunch of them. They had so many things going on. It was really great. We even did stuff for Ghost Hunters, which you can't imagine what you need to promote or what you need to do, storyboard or anything with for them. But yeah, Ghost Hunters and all sorts of things.
And they used his boards for the titles of the shows that he worked on.
For
The
yeah.
10-year-old, in effect, is designing the titles for the shows. Pretty cool. And
And that's all I did. Yeah. I'm actually, today's my birthday, by the way. I turned, thank you. I'm officially 26, which in the U.S., according to family health insurance, means I am now uninsured. I know that's something that none of you are familiar with here. So it's sort of like being just thrown onto a roller coaster without any safety railing or anything like that. It's like, okay, just go. Yeah, you're fine. You don't need it. So
Don't get sick.
don't get sick. Yeah. But that means since between 17 and now 26, you know, I kind of had a pretty long career already, and I'm just only getting into comic books.
Yeah, he sort of went sideways.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I actually got to intern for the Sci-Fi Channel as part of school. They let me take 3 months off of school to be an intern. It was one of the coolest things I could ever do. No more math, no more history, and day one, it felt like, oh, I hope they don't give me like algebra problems at the Sci-Fi Channel, because.
And then Sci-Fi Channel became one of his clients as he became a freelancer and moved on. And he did other projects, and they actually paid him for them, which was a little shocking because people on the outside of comics pay more money than they pay on the inside of comics. So it sort of has to take his expectations down now that he's doing comics.
Yeah, it's a
Go
paid
ahead.
downgrade.
But Hung's got to keep going, Hung. We're there.
And of course, you know Mr. Neal Adams here.
What is the sound of one hand clapping?
He's pretty much creative. He pretty much created DC Comics, the imagery that we know and love today, and his more recent works on Batman Odyssey and First X-Men. On top of that, he's also co-founder of the graphic design company Continuity Associates, and he's also played an important role of helping artists gain back their creator rights from the publishers. Yeah, give a nice warm welcome to Mr. Neal Adams.
Don't we all have the urge to get out of here and go find out what that is?
Yeah.
What is going on over there? Hey guys, what's going on over there?
It's John Byron.
Yeah.
John?
John Berman from Torchwood.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
he's cool.
We could go over there for 10 or 15 minutes and come back. Oh, okay. And thanks for the mic. You have a mic? You don't have a mic. Pass him the mic. There it is. Hey, look at that. Does that work?
Test.
Yeah, you're
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, just a few housekeeping things to take care of. This panel will end at the 15-minute mark, so at 1:15, our assistants will give me the 5-minute mark when we're about to end. We will be opening up the microphone for you guys. If you have any questions for Neal or Josh, just raise your hand, and Tristan and Lucas will come up to you and hand you a microphone there.
Just remember to ask questions that lead to something funny, because I want laughter out of here to compete with that. Okay, anybody have any questions? Yes,
Yes.
sir. You with the priest's garb.
Hi. Yeah, dressed as a kind of samurai kind of thing. Anyway.
We don't care.
My question was, I'm actually, I do a bit of comic book art kind of stuff, so I was just wondering.
What?
He does comic book art.
I do a bit of
You do
comic
comic book art kind of stuff?
Yeah, and I'm really into
One of
it,
the
so-
first things you have to do is try the English language. Say, we're going to try that. I draw comic book art. Try that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I draw comic book art. Say it. Come on.
So I was just wondering, how does... Let's get my question out first.
You're jumping up and down. I got to tell you. Okay, go.
All right. So I was just wondering, how did you get into doing stuff for like DC, like the Batman and like the Green Arrow, and just like how did you go about doing comic book art for DC? And if you had the chance to do stuff for Marvel, would you do it?
I have done stuff for Marvel.
Oh,
I
my
saved
bad.
the X-Men. I did the Avengers.
My bad. Okay.
You're talking to me, right?
Yeah.
How would you do
Rephrase.
stuff for Marvel? Huh?
Allow me to rephrase the question then.
Yes.
How does one go about getting into comic book art there?
How do you
Is
break
that better?
in?
That's
How do you
good.
break
You can
in?
ask, we can both ask that. You answer
What's
that. You have to be incredibly good. You have to be able to draw. You have to draw as if you're drawing photographs. You have to be able to understand perspective, life drawing. You have to understand color. You have to understand light and shade, you have to understand depth, you have to understand all these things that you really can't get in many schools. You have to open books, you have to carry a sketchbook in your back pocket, you have to buy a light box, you have to trace things off the light box in spite of the fact that all your friends tell you you shouldn't trace, you should trace, they're all full of baloney. You know, for her, I didn't say full of. Right. And you have to study it as if it's serious and you want to learn to be good. Sort of like lawyers and doctors. That's what you have to do. How's that in a nutshell? Now, what do you have to do?
Well, I was told coming up through college that you have to be two of three things. Any of the two of these next three things. You have to be good, fast, and social. These days, I look at some of Marvel and DC and I think, all right, well, maybe you just have to be social. But it does, I mean, from a personal perspective, it's draw a lot, use reference, you know, work smart, use your head, you know, try and come up with the best solutions to all the problems out there. And you're going to have to dedicate more hours than are seemingly worth it to break in. I mean, for a lot of the young guys getting into comics, if you try and break down the number of hours you draw versus the amount of money you make, it's pretty low.
Minimum wage or less.
Usually less. But it's worth it once you get in because you're getting paid to draw pictures. You know, how many hardships can you deal with when you draw comic books? Maybe, you know, not eating fancy dinner. That's about it.
That's about it. True. Anyway.
With all the technologies out there right now, would you even suggest people to go independent and use the internet as their medium?
Hell yeah.
Sure.
That's what I'm doing. I mean, I've committed to a 5-year contract that is basically allowing me to make money doing comics, and
Which is the next step up from not making money and doing webcomics.
yeah, well, it's not a commonplace thing to kind of come into webcomics and be treated like a paid comic artist in publishing business. So it's kind of a new and unique thing. 5 years ago, that was kind of unheard of. So we're actually looking to a new era where you can make money on the internet doing webcomics. So yeah.
And you don't get paid by the page or by somebody with money in the bank. You get paid by the advertising that you are able to attract with whoever it is that you're working with, which is a little different and a new way of doing things, but potentially could lead to very good money and very good income. Sort of the same money and income. I'm sorry that I was redundant there. But yeah, those of us who are in the regular comic books are looking to the internet and saying, wait a second, is that the next big thing? Is that how we're going to be making our living in the future? It's quite possible. They're actually, I mean, they're not paying Josh as much as he's worth, but they're paying Josh a given amount of money from the advertising that is coming into the company on the internet. That's very different than somebody giving you a page rate and you don't know where the hell it comes from, but you assume it's from selling comic books. You don't know. Go ahead.
You got something? Anyone got questions?
On kind of that topic of like the digital medium, Neal, have you thought about working with like the infinite comics on Marvel or Marketplace Digital then, where it's like kind of tablet based?
You mean drawing comics on the internet, on the computer?
Well, it's like kind of like
Digital format, where it's like panels will come up one at a time, or there'll be extra media within the thing when you look at it on like an iPad.
Yeah, most of that is done by other people rather than the artists. So it's a little hard for the artist to know what's going to happen to their stuff because that's added on by other people. So I haven't been invited to do that, although on a commercial level we are invited to do that for children's books and other things. But the end game in computer comics is not seen clearly. It's anytime we ask and answer questions about stuff on the internet, it's like looking through a glass darkly, milk glass or frosted glass. You can't see what the future is. And what you're talking about is for example, you can you can have a comic book and you have somebody running and you show his shoes and then suddenly you press the right button and you get a shoe ad. You know, there's a lot of that potential out there. You're not going to press that button except somebody is because he goes, oh, that's the one with the lights along the side. Yeah, I'm going to see that. So you don't know how it's going to happen. I have I have a very geeky science project that I'm not going to talk about unless somebody's stupid enough to ask me about it. And I assumed there would never be any money to be made for it, and so it was on my site, and somebody stole it and put it on YouTube. And he got it up to nearly 2 million hits. He was making money off of my stupid science stuff. So I said, cut it out, and I own it, re-own it again, and I have it up there, and I'm getting checks every month for my stupid science stuff. I'm not. It's not stupid, and it is science. Watch it, I'll beat you up. So anyway, there's ways of making money that you don't think, because when you start, if you make like $10, you go, well, what the hell is that? But then using the same method and moving forward, you can make $100, and then you say, well, it's something, but what the hell is that? I can buy a couple of Neal Adams sketchbooks for that. But then when it gets to $1,000, you kind of go, oh, something's going on here. Well, there are all these potential income flows on the internet that as a comic book artist, you can't know in doing it. You have to be that guy who jumps into cold water and goes, oh, the water's cold. And that's what Josh is doing. Josh can't know what he's going to make. He only knows what they're willing to pay now, which isn't enough. But the potential, you just don't know what the end of it is. So the internet is our future. Not to say that people are going to stop reading hard copy, because at the end of a given amount of work that he does, they're going to make a book and they're going to sell it, and he's going to get royalties from that. So there is going to be hard copy out there. So there's so many ramifications that I can't look at. I'm a pretty smart guy. I can't tell you what it's going to be like. I can't. I just know it's big.
Do you foresee the future of hard copy to be like still existing?
Oh yeah, people like hard copy. It feels good. I mean, people read comic books. They're going to keep on reading. It's like saying, oh yeah, let's get rid of records and we'll have tapes. Yeah, okay, get rid of records. So I throw all my records out, or sell them to somebody who's going to buy them for, 5 cents. And then suddenly everybody goes, oh, I got a record player, and they're starting to release singles on records. Really? Oh, because we like it. It was okay to throw it away, but now guess what? We like it again. My daughter goes to Brooklyn, a fresh bottle, and we take away the already filled bottle. My daughter comes to work from Brooklyn. She runs the studio, our art studio, Continuity, and I kind of grill her. What are people reading? The Kindle, or what are they reading? Last time I asked her, I said, so what are people reading on the train? She says, a newspaper. You mean on the machine? No, the newspaper. You fold it, put it on your lap. They're reading the newspaper again. They tried it. It was nice. Now they're reading the newspaper. Things are not what they necessarily seem to be. People like hard copy. What is this convention about? It's all hard copy. Yes, there's people that play games and do all the rest of it, but you like that book. You like I got a graphic novel. Oh, is that a comic book? No, it's a graphic novel, idiot. Oh, okay, it's hard copy. No, it's not hard copy, it's a graphic novel. And this is a comic book. You can roll it up and stick it in your back pocket. All that stuff is good. We like that stuff. We like the other stuff, no doubt about it, but we like the hard copy. And if you talk to a store owner, he'll tell you, you'll get, are you ready to go out of business? Well, no, I'm doing great. I'm selling comic books hand over fist. Well, the prices are going up and it's getting no, I'm selling comic books. And people come and ask me, reporters come and ask these poor store owners, and they go, I'm doing fine. Really? What percentage of people reads it on the internet around there, reads the soft copy, what you call soft copy? 6%. 6%? I thought it was the revolution. No, it's 6%. Maybe it'll go to 7. It's hard copy. That's what it's all about. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the internet stuff won't grow and grow, because remember, Grandma doesn't read hard copy comic books. She can read the stuff on the internet because nobody's looking at her, touching her on the shoulder and saying, Grandma, you're reading comic books. I like these comic books. They're very good. I like to read them this way. It's it's a growing, burgeoning business, and hard copy is part of it, and will remain forever because people like hard copy. And that's not a prediction, it's just obvious. It's like math, you know, like 1 and 1 makes 2. It's, look at the people out there, what are they buying? I'm buying tapes to put into my, no you're not, you're buying comic books. I like this Neal Adams guy, I like the way he draws. That's, you know, and that's part of it too, you know, you like the artist, you have your favorite artist, you don't want it on a machine, you know. People buy original art. Josh is at the table now drawing Doctor Who today. In here, right in here, he's losing money right now. He could be at his table drawing Doctor Who. And he goes, Dad, good weekend, did really good. People are paying you to draw Doctor, yes, they are, they're very good. So it's just getting bigger. I'll give you for instance, a number that I made up. Just so you know, this is not true, I made it up. Every convention that you go to has increased in the last year between 15% and 100%. The authority I have for that is me, I just made that up. But it's true because I've been keeping track. I'm as good as anybody else at doing it. I go to the convention, how many people you have here? We got 60,000. Okay, that's, what is it? You had 40,000 last year. That's an increase. I put it together, and that, I can say that with the same kind of attitude that those people who make up that stuff all the time do. It's increased. Huh? Thank you. Is that an accordion or some kind of electronic equipment you're behind?
We're streaming you online.
Oh. So every
I love
play,
Marvel and DC. I didn't mean to make all those bad comments. I'm sorry.
Okay, I just got bored with myself, so ask another question. Yes, you in the funny costume. Are you a doctor? No, you don't get to ask. I'm sorry, Sensei. You with the funny costume.
Are you implying that the other one was not funny costume?
It's a funny costume,
Yeah.
I have to say. It's the wig that makes it funny. The coat is fine.
That's not
You
your
look
real
like
hair?
You look like, it looks like now like a bald beetle. Okay.
Okay,
You look like a
Sergeant Pepper.
haired beetle before. Ringo, I think.
Is
Go
this
ahead.
going to be a science question?
Do you actually have a question, or you just sit there giggling?
How does it feel to be, or how, half the streets in
Just like this. That's how it feels.
All right, now I really want to know.
Now
the
go ahead.
question.
I want to
Okay.
know your question.
How does it feel to have half the streets in Sterling City named after you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's spooky, huh? You must be a legend when that happens. Geez, people copy me on everything, and now they're using my name on streets.
Wait, Adams Street.
I should get a royalty.
Adams Street isn't named after me? But
That's
you
right.
said.
That's right. That's cool. Boring, but cool. Anybody else? Yes. No, wait, you know, we got, after him, we got to go to, huh? He has?
Okay.
Sit down. Go ahead.
right.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Go for it. And he's got the mic.
Does this thing work?
Yes.
Mr. Neal Adams.
He blows into the mic and spreading germs.
From the 60s, your time in the 60s. Working
Back in the olden days, I know when we hit rocks together to make comic books.
I was going to say it. You're a healthy looking 72.
Yeah, screw you. Listen, buddy, I can bench press. What can I bench press? 300
lot.
pounds.
Yeah.
Leg press, 1,100 pounds.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool. Want to go out? Yeah, but you don't mention it out loud. We'll put him on one of the old timer panels.
I'm wishing you a happy birthday way ahead of time. How about that?
What?
I'm wishing you a happy birthday ahead of time.
Well, thank you.
Your question?
Latest
Was that
story.
we waited for that? We gave you the microphone for that? You're old, Neal Adams. Huh. But congratulations for still being alive. That voice was Marty Frickert. You probably don't know her. It's back in the past. Marty Frickert was just talking to you through my mouth. Yes?
Okay.
You don't have anything else to say. I know you don't.
No, I have lots to say.
Huh?
Can you relate a story from your time working?
I can relate many stories
in the
because I am
DC
ancient.
offices
I am
from the
ancient like Marty
60s and
Frickert.
70s?
The 60s and 70s.
Julius work.
Before you were all born. Is that thick? You want a story like that? Okay, I'll give you a story like that, okay? My poor little daughter, Christine Adams, came to DC Comics, and Carmine Infantino scared her. That's the beginning and end of that story. He looked at her like this, like that, and she went, woo, like that.
That's his nice face too.
Yeah, that's Carmine. Carmine does have a scowl, had a scowl. Anyway, okay, somebody with a serious question. He gets a question? He doesn't get a question.
Why don't I get a question?
All right, you get a question.
How awesome is it to be Neal Adams?
It's so awesome.
It's almost as awesome as it's being Neal Adams' son.
Well, I'm following up on that because I was going to say, not only have you done some iconic.
Oh God, this
I
part
know,
of the
I know.
discussion.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to mention the Superman versus Muhammad Ali cover, which, by the way, is awesome. But not only that, but I mean, you brought your son up, who is now beloved for all the work he's doing too. I mean, there's got to be a lot of gratification in.
Yes, there is.
I won't say passing it on, but passing it on.
You got when you come up with this kind of stuff, it's not boring to you in your mind before you spit it out.
No, actually, I kind of like watching you be flummoxed by it.
It's great being Neal Adams. I can't imagine it. Look they give me money to draw pictures. Think about that. When I was a kid, when I was a teenager, I was the bottom man for a moving company. You know what the bottom man is? The bottom man on a moving company is the guy when you load the refrigerator down the stairs, you have to have a guy under it, and then you have two guys on the top with straps on it, and they say, got it? And you go, you don't got it. I got it. Bottom man, good. He looks nice and bulky. Let's make him the bottom man. So I know what work is. Drawing pictures, I hate work. I learned from a Japanese brush guy how to hold my brush and my pen when I was a teenager. He humiliated me and told me that Americans are gorillas. I share that with you even though you're Canadians. You too are gorillas. You don't know how to hold a brush? Because he says you hold it on the pads of your fingers like that. That's how you hold a brush. I can work 48 hours straight like that. It doesn't make my hand tired. That's how lucky I am. I listen to other people and I learn all this wonderful stuff. And I got 5 kids. They're all great. Every single one of them. And he's the youngest.
And the best.
They're all the best.
They're not here.
My daughter runs my studio in New York when we go out. My other daughter works on the computer, and she does computer graphics, and she's one of the best people at it. My son Joel does animation design for House on the Hill. What's it called?
King of the Hill?
King of the Hill. Some Marvel characters and some other stuff. I don't remember it because he's my son. I forget what my son does. Anyway, he did King of the Hill, and I asked him, Joel, how do you do King of the Hill and you can draw so well? He says, I just bang my hand in the door before I leave. Like that. My son Jason sculpts, and he does really, really good stuff. He did the 2 black and white Batman drawings that I did that it was based on in the black and white series. He did the Batman and the Man-Bat, and he does his own stuff. I'm like surrounded by talented, wonderful people that don't have to come to my house every night. It's great. I get to meet you guys. We have a good time. You guys come to my table. Do you have a good time when you come to my table? Right? And I have a good time all the time. And I get to do all kinds of different art. I get to do creative work outside of comics. I designed the Terminator T2 3D ride at Universal. I designed the Spider-Man ride. You guys don't know that, do you? No. I design Broadway shows. I do all kinds of stuff. I am the luckiest guy on earth. And he's my son. And he's getting better than me.
All right, there's a guy back right in the middle. The blue. He's got the mic.
How do you feel about all the TV and movie adaptations about characters who you either created or revolutionized? And I'm thinking Ra's al Ghul, Green Arrow, Speedy.
When they're good, they're good. When they're bad, they suck.
How do you feel about the Green Arrow? What's happening with Green Arrow? And I don't know if you.
I haven't seen the royalty check yet. This is one of them. Gone.
They've introduced Speedy as a troubled youth, and I'm positive they're going to work.
If he's going to be a
heroin
junkie,
angle. I think so.
that'd be great. That'd be great. No, I'm having some little difficulties with DC because you guys probably know that I kind of fought for the return of original arts and the royalties and the good reproduction, a lot of other things. And so now that everything is taken care of, I went to DC. I've been to DC and said, okay, now that this is all done, how about I get my stuff? Because you don't have any contract with me, so how about maybe we take care of Neal now? So they're saying things like, yeah, well, you created Ra's al Ghul, but you didn't really create Green Arrow. Well, there was a Green Arrow, and he was boring. And I think I made him interesting, way beyond the possibility that you would ever imagine. And I created John Stewart. Oh, but he's part of the Green Lantern Corps. Sergeant Rock is part of the Army. Sean Connery is a secret agent, and there's a whole lot of other secret agents. So do we count out the secret agents? I mean, crime fighter. Batman is a bunch of crime fighters that fight against crime incognito. So do we count him out? I mean, I just kind of think that John Stewart, rather unique character. Isn't he the Green Lantern of the TV series that everybody was disappointed when they heard that Hal Jordan was going to be Green Lantern for that movie that lost $150 million? And that all the kids across America and Canada and the rest of the world said, who the hell is Hal Jordan? John Stewart is Green Lantern. So I think I created that character, didn't I? Well, he's part of the Green Lantern. We don't necessarily think so. I think you're wrong. I had a fight to get that character done. I had to close the door in Julie Schwartz's office so they wouldn't hear our voices yelling at one another, because he's a New York Jew who is a total liberal and has to agree with me in the end that we can get a black Green Lantern. So he's under my thumb, and I know he has to do it, and he buckled, and we had a black Green Lantern. The question that changed his mind was, Julie, have you ever watched the Olympics? You ever notice 3 white guys up there? Usually it's white and black and Asian. So you're going to search for the next best guy on earth. Probably it's going to be one of the others. Really? Okay. Archery. Maybe in archery we have all white guys. You know, hockey. I don't know. You know, I'm just thinking, you know, there's 2 other groups of people in the world. We ought to get one of them. Will you do it? Yeah, I'll draw it. Give it to Denny O'Neil. Denny O'Neil does it, and I get the first page of script, and it says, the green unemployed architect walks down the street, Lincoln, Washington. Who? Lincoln, Washington? I go to Denny. Denny says, Denny, Lincoln, Washington, that's not your name that you put in there, is it? No, that's Julie. Go to Julie Schwartz's office, close the door again. Julie, what? Lincoln, Washington. I know a lot of guys with names like that. That's probably true. We call that a slave name. Now, if you want every black person in America and a hell of a lot of white people to write you really nasty letters that will fill up your office, call him Lincoln, Washington. I won't draw it, but they're going to be really angry. Well, what do you think it ought to be? I mean, what do you think it ought to be? You know, a name, John Stewart. How would I know he'd become a late-night comedian? Fine, get out of my office. Now, I had to fight, and that wasn't a big fight. We didn't throw things at one another. But the implication that I didn't create John Stewart, I'm sorry, you know, it's just so we're having these little discussions. We have experts here at DC Comics that say, you know, if you're just a Green Lantern, you don't really get a royalty. It's not just the Green Lantern, it's John Stewart. Anyway, next, huh? I fight in a different way. I fight with a smile. And I just...
Was it more easy or freer at the time to get these
It's easy now because everybody now is nuts. No, you got to tell me whether or not you think people are nuts. They destroy half a city for a story. Hundreds and thousands of people die. Characters destroy through their mind or nearly all the mutants on Earth in a flash like that. And you got to sit there and read that and go, well, that makes sense. That doesn't make sense. Oh, we got Spider-Man. We gave Spider-Man too much of a story. He's got a wife and he's going to probably have a kid. But guess what? We're going to have Mephisto come and take his life away. That's fun. Why did you have to do that? Well, you had to do that because you suddenly woke up one morning and realized if you make Spider-Man into a Spider-Man instead of a Spider-Teenager, you'll probably mess up the character. So let's take it backward in time. How do you solve the problems of messing up your own characters? You make it impossible to think of it that way, and then they have to go back. I'd like to get Robin back to Dick Grayson. I'm never going to get it. And then what did they just do? Kill this kid, Damien? Damien, Robin. Who would have like what do they call those creatures in The Exorcist? Become Robin? That's a challenge for you, Bruce. Make that kid into Robin. I don't think so. I think he's a monster. Well, shoot him. I don't shoot. Okay, go ahead. Let's move on.
Silly question for silly costume guy.
So I was just wondering, when you like brought characters like Batman and Green Arrow back to like their, I guess, more darker and serious roots compared to like the campy versions that were around at the time, did you have to like really like fight for it back then?
Fight. You know what the problem is? You're not talking to him. I'm telling you, this is going to happen a lot. We go up on these things. They're going to talk about this old crap. I'll tell you, I don't fight. I put a smile on my face, I close the door, and I speak rationally with people. And then I'm right because I have the facts on my side. I'm one of those people that does research, like here's the copyright law. It's a book long. All you have to do is read it. Here's the sales tax law. All you have to do is read it. Here's your darn comic books. All you have to do is read them. You notice there are no black people? That's a fact. Boop, boop, flip, 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 flip. When I did Jon Stewart, I colored him brown. Actual brown. You know, like black people. My editor and Saul Harrison said, well, we usually color black people this kind of khaki color. I mean, don't you think black people would be offended if I color them brown? I think they've been offended enough because you're coloring them khaki. Probably not what they want. I think we're okay with brown because that's what it is. There's a character named Gage in the Howling Commandos, those old comic books, if you go find them. Gage is black. His color is what's called in comic book color B2R2Y2. B2R2Y2 is gray. That's blue 25%, red 25%, and yellow 25%. And that color comes out to be gray. They colored Gage gray. He's a black man. Got brown skin. Gray. There's a lot of stupid stuff in comics. Really a lot of stupid stuff. So it was sort of like climbing uphill, only everything that you climbed over was stupid. You could accuse me of, like, beating up stupid people on my way up and learn, why did you punch those stupid people around, Neal? Because they're just stupid, they can't defend themselves. I know, they can't read either. It was stupid. They didn't have contracts. They didn't have good color. Marvel Comics had 64 colors. You don't know what that means, but they had 64 colors. On a chart, 64 colors. DC Comics had 32 colors, half as much as Marvel. If you look at your old comic books, the white people, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, were colored pink because it's 25% red. The only thing that saved them is the paper was so crappy that took down the pink and made it look almost like flesh, but not really. Pick up a Marvel comic, put it next to a DC Comics. Flesh color, pink. And you guys lived through that. You know, you see that old stuff out there, and it's awful. Anyway, let's go on to something serious.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I was curious for both of you guys. When you have ever done portfolio reviews for anyone, first question, do you ever take the honest approach or the nice approach? And the second one is, what do you see as far as what, as a general rule, they could be doing better or something? I mean, that's a very big question, but something that first and foremost, you said before, you know your shadows, know those kind of tones and whatnot. Just out of curiosity, what comes to mind right away when you say, you can do this better, and it's constant?
Real quick, if you're showing your portfolio to other artists, then subconsciously you know you're not good enough yet. If you are looking to get into comic books, you find editors first. You find out what they have to say, because those are the ones who are deciding whether or not you get a job. Then you have to look at your work yourself, and you have to compare it to other comic book artists and see what they're doing that you're not doing. Comic artists you like, not the 90% that suck. Dad?
Okay. You know, if you ask, you're introduced to somebody's wife and she's a dog, and later on the guy says, what do you think of her? And you go, she's lovely. You're a liar. People tend to lie all the time. When given the opportunity, they will lie. It's a consistent human trait. They will lie. Or they will modify the truth, okay? When do you take your portfolio up to some guy and say, I'd like to show you my portfolio, and the guy will say, sure, open it up. And he says, oh, that's interesting. Now, anything that he says after he says, sure, open it up, is a lie. Because you know he doesn't say something like, this sucks, this is crap. What the hell's wrong with you? Why are you showing me this crap? But you know that is the truth. 9 times out of 10. This is crap. But you know, we humans, we don't do that. So when you show your portfolio to 90% or 95% of the artists, they don't want to offend you, they don't want to insult you, so they will tell you things that are just lies, because it's easier. I tend not to do that. So if you show me your stuff and it's crap, and I say, this is crap, I'm just telling you the truth, okay? So I don't really like people to show me stuff because it takes a lot of weight for me to burden myself with actually telling somebody the truth. So what I generally do is I look quick like that, like that, and I say to them, if I give you $20, will you not show me your portfolio? Why do you say that? Because I don't want to look at your portfolio, and I'll give you $20 for the privilege of not looking at it. You can just walk away from my table. There's a dozen artists over there who would be delighted to lie to you or tell you whatever you want to hear. Go see them. They won't give you $20 to walk away from the table. What does he mean by that? I don't mean anything. I mean I will give you $20 if you take your portfolio away. That's what I mean. Please, go away with your portfolio. No. Well, you get the guys who go, okay, I'll go. Whew, this guy's crazy. Or you do get people who actually believe in themselves, and they go, no, I don't want the $20. I'd like you to give me your opinion. So the first thing I say when I look at this stuff, and usually it's junk, okay? Because there's very few really talented people around. Usually what I say is, do you have friends? Well, actually, the first thing I say is, how old are you? And if they're older than 17, I say, forget it. I know, I see the beard and I know you're older. I say, do you have friends? Yeah, I have friends. Do they have opinions? Yes, they have opinions, of course. Like your mother? Well, my mother has opinion. And your mother thinks you're great, doesn't she? She thinks you're wonderful. She squeeze you and pinch your cheeks. You're wonderful. You're wonderful. You're not. Nobody is. Nobody is ever as wonderful as their mother thinks. Nor are they as wonderful as their friends think. He's the artist of the group. Wait, he's great. No, he can draw anything. He can draw anything. Right, Joey? Yeah, man, he can draw anything. I'm telling you, he could just draw it. He could just put it in his pencil and just draw it. He could do anything. Idiots. Idiots. Now your life's in their hands, okay? Now you have to listen to their opinions. You know, real artist doesn't trace, like Norman Rockwell, Bob Peake, Austin Briggs, Bernie Fuchs, Rembrandt van Rijn, all the artists of the last 100 years and more have traced, but your friends say, a real artist doesn't trace. That's not being a real artist. You see, that's an opinion, and it comes from a mouth that is fed by an empty head, because they don't know anything, and they give you their opinion. And if you're listening to their opinions because they're your friends, you will learn nothing. Because all the things that they say are barriers to learning. People's opinions are barriers to learning. How do you learn? Well, you can learn by talking to Neal, because he'll tell you the truth. That's a hard one, okay. You could learn by using, your head, your brain. You could do that. Not as a resource. In other words, you can't go, well, I did it out of my head. There's nothing in your head. Excuse me, you did it out of your head? Okay, let's take this. We're gonna go to 2 different sources to find out something, okay? We're gonna go to your head and then the world. Choose. What do you mean? There's nothing in your head. Try to understand it. You're born with nothing in your head. And as you grew, very little got added to your head, and you don't know any more today than you knew a year ago, because you know what? You're taking stuff out of your head, and it sucks, okay? And you're not going to other places. You're not carrying a sketchbook and drawing different trees. You know there are different trees? There's one kind of tree, and there's another kind of tree, and there's about 15 kinds of trees, and if you pay attention, you can learn how to draw them. There are doorways, there are people, there are faces, there are ears. You know how to draw an ear? You don't know how to draw an ear because you're drawing it out of your head. And there's nothing in your head. There's people standing around you. Turn to the left. See a person? Right there. They have an ear. Could you draw that ear? Because if you did draw that ear, you would learn something. But if you draw it out of your head, you will learn nothing. But your friends tell you artists are not supposed to trace pictures or to draw from real life or whatever the hell it is they have to say, and they're feeding you nothing, and you have become a slave to their mindless chatter. Drop the door and think. What are the tools that an artist needs to learn to draw? Oh, real life drawing classes, perspective classes, tracing, little things like having a light box and tracing. Why would you trace? Oh, you'd have to learn something. Then you'd learn how things are while you were tracing. Oh, that's probably a good idea. Yes, it is a good idea. Learn to do it. It's a tool. Oh, carpenter, would you fix this wall? Would you build a wall here? I will do it. I'll have it done by tonight. Where are your tools? Oh, I don't bring them. I just build the wall. Don't you have any tools to build the wall? Because tonight, I don't think I'm going to have a wall, because I don't see any tools. You're going to become an artist? You have no tools. You have friends. What are they going to do? Mentally put up the wall for you? Are they going to mentally draw for you? Going to help you think? No. They are the worst persons. They're like your mom. Moms are great. I love my mom. Great. You know what she taught me? I'd show her my artwork, and she'd say, I like that. And then I'd show her another piece of artwork, and she'd say, I don't like that. It's not very good. What's wrong with it, Mom? I don't know. No, I mean, what's wrong with it? I don't know. Why are you asking me what's wrong with it? You're supposed to be the artist. Figure it out. Oh, yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to figure it out by using our brains, not as a resource to draw things, but to learn. So we should spend half of our time learning, half of our time doing. But what do we do as potential comic book artists? We spend all of our time doing and none of our time learning. So what do you learn when you talk to Neal? You're doing everything wrong.
Yeah, so
And
he
that's,
doesn't really like portfolio reviews, huh?
We got to go.
yeah.
right,
Thank
we're
you
done.
guys for joining us for Neal Adams and Josh Adams.
I got it.
Josh. Happy birthday, Matt.